Eva, thank you very much for coming to our Thursday 30. You're going to talk to us about Cosmo switches today, and we are really excited to learn a little bit more. So I'm going to leave it over to you now, and thanks again for joining us.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. Just to double check that you can see my presentation, the Cosmo play and movement in education. Yeah. Okay, that's brilliant. Okay. So yeah, thanks for the introduction. My role within Cosmo is product management, and I'm an ex-SEND teacher as well. So that's kind of the experience that I bring to Cosmo. And yeah, generally I will today, let me outline maybe the agenda a little bit. First of all, so yeah, in order, I would like to tell you a little bit more about key challenges that we at Cosmo are trying to solve with our learning platform. I'll tell you what Cosmo is, and I'll tell you all about these interactive, touch-sensitive Cosmo Dots, how it works exactly, and the key benefits and impact that it does have on some schools. And I will give some examples of schools that already use Cosmo, and obviously Charlton Park Academy is our flagship example of how that happens. And I'm going to show you a quick video as well, too, so that you can see how Cosmo works in practice. We know that all the children that we work with, whether that is a specialistic SEND school or a mainstream school with or without any SEND department, all those students have very diverse needs. Some require support with communication, sensory processing, emotions, movement, or critical thinking. When we think specifically about students with profound and multiple learning disabilities, so that is a very big group of Cosmo users. The challenges are even more complex. So we know that these students struggle with significant difficulties with movement, cognition, communication, and social and emotional regulation. And the traditional learning resources can struggle to meet their needs. So that will leave gaps in engagement and limit access to both educational and therapy opportunities and therapy outcomes as well. So without those tailored inclusive approaches, these students risk falling further behind because tools and environment fail to support them. When we think about children in early education, so here I'm thinking children in kindergartens or preschools and Key Stage 1, increasing screen time and pandemic-related issues and reduced physical activity are creating additional challenges, including difficulties with focus, communication, and sensory regulation. This is why we need solutions that actively engage children, support group work, and foster emotional regulation. And they must do so in a safe, non-intrusive, stimulating, and fun way so that every student has equal opportunities to learn and grow. And this is where Cosmo comes in. Some of you have seen it before, some of you are new. Some of you may have already had an opportunity to use it, so you will have a little bit more understanding. But just to start with the very basics, Cosmo is a modern, multifunctional platform that adds movement and play into education and therapy. At its core, you have a set of 8 touch-sensitive controllers, wireless Bluetooth controllers called Cosmo Dots, that are integrated with our dedicated iPad app that features almost 40 learning activities to support holistic development of skills. So the activities support development of cognitive, physical, communication, social and emotional, but also creative skills. Cosmo has been present in schools for several years now, and it's effective, as I mentioned, in special needs education and therapy, as well as early years and Key Stage 1 settings. The key advantage here is options for personalization, which you will see in video, and I'll mention some specific ones. But those personalization options are, for example, difficulty levels of the activities, adaptable colors, sounds, and touch sensitivity of the dots, which mean that you can adjust every single activity to the very individual needs of your students. At this point, I would like to show you a quick video so that you can see how it works in practice. Okay, and I'm just going to press play and see if you can check if you can see and if you can. So if you could give me thumbs up or
just sounds on, everything's working.
All good.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Anna, Leo, si masakit na. Yan na sa loob.
Okay, so I'm just going to pause at this point. I just wanted to add a little bit more detail to what you're seeing. There are two ways how you can interact with our activities in the Cosmo Dots. So one type of interaction is that you press the dot and you make things happen. So for example, you press the dot and you trigger some audiovisual elements on the screen and some simple cause and effect activities, or you press the dot and you play music, for example. And you will be able to see those examples in the next clips in the video. And then the second type of interaction is that you observe first how the dots light up, and then you simply follow the light. In the case of this activity here in the memory game, you have to observe the sequence of lights and then press the dots in the correct order to repeat that sequence. In some other activities, you will simply have to follow whichever dot lights up so that you can work on some basic spatial orientation and maybe response time as well.
Where was Giant?
Where's the giant?
Okay, can you press now?
Where was the giant?
Here, I'm sure you recognize where this video was made. So this is an example of our storytelling activity where you can read sensory stories, and the way it works that you have images and text on the screen. You read through stories, and on each slide, different dots light up in different colors. When you press the dot, it plays sounds that match what's happening in the story. So it makes the storytelling activity more interactive, more engaging, more immersive for all students.
Find orange. Orange. Ready, steady, red. Yay. Give me 5. Yay.
Wonderful. Let me come back to the presentation. Great. So I hope you were able to see in the video the variety of activities that feature in our Cosmo app. So you will have some movement-based activities, some group activities, some individual activities, some music activities, as I've mentioned, and that kind of music and movement sits at the very core of all the Cosmo activities because how motivating those two elements are for really all learners for any ages. In terms of how we design Cosmo, so our design methodology is based on several different key pillars. Children, well, not saying children, but really learners of any age learn best when activities are simply fun, both children and adults. All Cosmo activities promote learning and therapy through play, because this is how we build motivation and effectively support the development of new skills. The activities provide embedded opportunities for natural communication and teamwork so that it doesn't feel forced, but it just feels very natural. The dots encourage learners to move, as you've seen in the video as well, which helps develop coordination and body awareness. They engage multiple senses, so you can engage sight, touch, sound, which makes learning more engaging, more immersive, and more stimulating and effective. All system and activities parameters, like I've mentioned, colors, touch sensitivity, difficulty levels can be modified based on the individual abilities or simply learning preferences, which supports individualized learning. And lastly, Cosmo is being continuously developed according to the Universal Design for Learning principles, ensuring that activities are accessible regardless of ability or learning style. The intuitive controls and, as I mentioned, the options for customization allow for really quick adoption in the classroom, even for learners with profound and multiple needs. All of these pillars, they boost motivation and engagement, which is kind of the first, I would say, benefits that you will be able to observe playing with Cosmo. Learners love the immediate feedback from the dots. So as you've been able to see in the video, I press, it lights up, I press, it plays different sounds, and that builds that immediate sense of agency and joy. Several years ago, we conducted a study with researchers from universities of Birmingham and Cambridge, which demonstrated Cosmo's positive impact on engagement, but also frequency and quality of communication and emotional regulation. And the results of that study are published on our website, so you're very welcome to have a look at the full paper. In terms of the specific educational and therapy application, I'm just going to very briefly kind of mention some skills that fall within those categories here. So, and I'm sure you were able to already see some of those skills in the clips from the video, how Cosmo can support memory recall, focus, sequencing, how it can support interactive storytelling and language comprehension, and even sentence building. So the last activity that you saw in the video was called My Voice, where you can record your voice and then it gets played back with a layer of special voice effects on top, or a different activity which doesn't feature any special voice effects, and you can record up to 6 different words with the different Cosmo dots, so that you can use sentence formation, for example. You could use colors, emotions, do simple choice making as well, for example. So the activities give you a lot of options, and at the center, as I've mentioned, it's that music, movement, and colors which really spark creativity. Brilliant. Okay. In terms of some specific examples, as I said, Charlton Park Academy is probably the flagship example of how Cosmo can be integrated across the school, both in learning and in therapy as well. But to give you some other examples here from a couple of different places, Corbett Tay School is a quite traditional special educational needs school, which educates students between 7 to 19 years old. And they, for the purpose of this case study, they selected a musical activity called My Orchestra, where basically what you do is when you press different dots, they play different instrumental loops. So for example, when you press one dot, it will start playing violin. Then you press another dot, it will light up in a different color and it will add cello to it. Then you press another dot and it will add flute to it. And all of these instruments combined together, they build an orchestral piece. You can select from a bunch of different music genres. So you can play some jazz music, classical, rock, hip hop, lots of different tracks. So essentially, they used this activity in a way that every learner was given a Cosmo Dot. Teacher was the musical conductor, the orchestra conductor, and the teacher was either using students' names or was pointing at students, indicating that now is your turn to press your dot, and then all the students were able to hear the instruments. And then students could take turns to become the orchestra conductor, using pencil, for example, as the conductor baton, for example. What they were trying to achieve here was to build teamwork, focus, self-confidence, and give students that kind of sense of agency as well. I'm realizing the time, so I'm going to maybe tell you about the last one here, which is very recent example from talking about the use of Cosmo in a public kindergarten. So this example is from Poland. And what they've been using Cosmo for a while now to support the development of attention, hand-eye coordination, and group work for children aged 3 to 5. The main benefits that teachers and caretakers observed was improved ability to cooperate, solve problems together, and emotional regulations as well. And yes, I think I'm going to jump maybe to the end because I realized that we've got 5 minutes. Here are just 2 quick quotes from that kindergarten around the benefits they've been able to observe around movement and that kind of reaction to colors, cooperation, emotional regulation, but also use in sensory integration sessions, helping students with anger management, for example. And yeah, in terms of the benefits of Cosmo, the first one that you will be able to see, that we always see to begin with, is that kind of joy stemming from exactly that sense of agency and that very simple interaction that I will press the dot and it will play music or it will do something else. And it just, gives students that sense of agency, joy, then effectively leads to higher engagement and effectiveness of learning and therapy sessions. As I said, the personalization options enable you to customize the session to the individual needs of your students. And as I said, just learning preferences suitable for individual and group sessions. Cosmo is very easy to use. There is only minimal setup required. The dots don't require any pre-pairing via Bluetooth. So you simply turn them on like this, they light up in white, and then they just connect to our Cosmo app. And they are very durable and portable. So they are very, very lightweight because there are no cables involved. You can just pack them up in your backpack and take them with you. And I would like to finish here because we have 5 minutes. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. If you would like to receive this presentation, then I'm sure we can do that. But I'll pause here and I will answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Eva. That was really interesting. I'm a big fan of the Cosmo switches, so thank you for that. The presentation will be shared on our website, so there is a place for them to be viewed. So that's brilliant. So I wanted to ask about the sets. So how many do you get in a set, and kind of how much do they cost, and can you use them individually? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah. So up until recently, we were offering different sets, but we have recently changed our kind of sales strategy. So currently we sell Cosmo in sets of 1. So you can buy 1 individual dot, or you can buy 2 or 3 or 4, however many you want, or we offer a set of 8 dots as well.
Brilliant, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Was there, because I think I couldn't hear the second part of your question. Was there anything else that you wanted to ask about?
I was asking about costs.
Cost. I apologize. I do not remember the exact price, but the cost for 1 dot is 150 plus VAT, and then a cost for 8 dots. It's not down to a penny, but it's 1,300, something like this, and you get access to all 40 activities as well, which is a very recent change. Up until recently, we had subscription model, but based on feedback from schools, we have removed subscriptions and opened access to everyone.
Super. Yeah, thank you. I don't know if anyone else has any questions. I forgot to say at the beginning to add it to the chat, but if anyone wants to come off mute or ask a question.
Can you actually use all the activities with one switch? So there isn't. So the answer is no, because some activities will require more than, let's say, 2, 3, or 4 switches. So in total, you can use 10 activities with one switch. So 25% of the activities will work with one switch, and that will increase to almost all activities when you have 3 dots. And then when you have 6 dots, it just means that you are able to engage more students, or if you want to host some competitive team-based activities as well, then you will be able to do that with 6. But there are definitely activities for one switch. Yes.
And have you got any that are connected to the curriculum? So any of the activities that are connected to, literacy or maths or anything like that?
The answer is not yet. We are working on a closer curriculum alignment. The reason is, so far the activities have been quite exploratory in a way. The activities are very versatile. So we've kind of left it up to teachers to be able to take this activity and then kind of tailor it to whatever goals they are working on with their students. But we are working on aligning it more closely with the pre-informal and semi-formal curriculum, and then the early learning goals and Key Stage 1 curriculum as well. You will see that the activities quite easily fit within individual school schemes of work anyway, but we are working anyway towards making it a little bit more formalized. Yes.
What's the kind of time scope on that? Is that something that's happening soon, or is it kind of the distant future?
So for pre-formal to semi-formal curriculum, this is going to be happening very soon, and the activities will provide guidance how you can assess the use of Cosmo using the engagement model. When regarding the mainstream curriculum, that will take a little bit more time, but we're planning to release it kind of mid 2026, so it should happen soon.
Excited to see that. Thank you. So unless anyone else has any other questions, I think I'm going to thank you very much for your time today for doing our Thursday 30.
Thank you very much.
Doesn't appear that anyone has any more questions. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.